a boxer who goes crazy during a match, another who has diarrhea, a fighter who provokes his opponent during the weigh-in, or a boxer who gets loose in the ring, but not the way you think. Sit back and relax. Today, you'll see combat sports like you've never seen them before. Here are the funniest moments in MMA and boxing. During a boxing match, this fighter was throwing punches in the direction of his opponent when he suddenly felt like stopping to take a breath. It was good timing since his opponent was in a bit of trouble. He pulled over to the corner of the ring and leaned on it, while the referee took care of the other player. And when I said earlier that he wanted to breathe a little bit, I was talking about the fact that he wanted to breathe not through his mouth, but from below, if you know what I mean. Yes, you guessed it. During the 1-minute break, the player, who was very bloated, let out a huge fart, not caring about the spectators behind him who had their faces right at his butt. Needless to say, the latter were nauseated at the time. Because of this little moment of inattention where he lost control of his buttocks, this player attracted a lot of mockery from the public. But looking at him, he doesn't seem to care. On the other hand, he now knows that he can knock everyone out without throwing a single punch. In this sequence, Mexican fighter Mia St. John had to face her formidable opponent Christy Martin in the ring. To make sure she would beat her, the boxer chose a risky but very effective strategy. She simply decided to go for it from the beginning of the round in order to weaken Martin. Thus, she launched herself with a frantic rhythm in the endless series of punches in the direction of her rival, to the point that poor Christy Martin felt helpless in front of this majestic attack. Finally, she let go, dropped her arms, and stuck out her tongue, letting her chin take the brunt of 11 punches in a row. St. John's attack was so unpredictable and surprising that it looked like she was caught in a fit of madness in this match. In the end, their strategy paid off as they heard their win announced by unanimous decision at the end of the match. She will definitely have offered a magnificent show that day to the public. During a match, the famous boxer Franchon Cruz de Zern was fighting a formidable opponent. Tired, she decides at one point to suspend the fight to go rest in the corner of the ring. At the same time, her trainer Barry Hunter, very angry against her and her way of fighting, came to give her a dressing down. And while he was shouting at her, one of the people who was taking care of her at the same time and who was giving her a drink accidentally tore off her wig. The boxer then winced with pain and did not pay attention to what her trainer was saying. This last one, not having appreciated the fact that she turned away, simply stuck a slap to her as to wake her up and have her full attention. A slap that she did not see coming because she would have never thought to receive a blow from her trainer. But the advantage is that this famous slap woke her up, and she could, thanks to it, resume her game, well motivated. And yes, life is a fight. We sometimes need to receive a few slaps to wake us up from our torpor and take action. The Russian fighter Justine Kish, great American kickboxing and MMA champion, was one day facing one of her rivals in the ring. At one point, she decides to get the better of her opponent, but a little stomachache came to bother her at the wrong time. A stomachache that ended in diarrhea in the middle of the match. The boxer unfortunately lost the control of the match, and her buttocks too, since her stools spilled on the ring. Her opponent tried to take advantage of this to get the upper hand on her and attack her with punches before giving up, too disgusted by the smell. A terribly embarrassing moment that was the cause of her failure in this match. The poor boxer was evacuated from the ring in emergency. This match will definitely remain memorable for everyone, even for the public. In this sequence, a boxer got into his ring and had the good idea to challenge someone in the audience. He prepared himself, warmed up, stretched to make a spectacle of himself, and to make his opponent understand that he had better behave. As soon as the latter got into the ring to face him, our boxer rushed at him to strike a few timid blows in order to intimidate and soften him up. But the problem was that his rival was twice his weight. He was clearly more muscular and stronger than him. The fight was pretty much in our fighter's favor at first, but as soon as his rival got tired of watching him cogitate like a maggot, he got down to business. He started punching his opponent, landing devastating punches that quickly knocked him out. The show was hilarious to see. It looked like a movie scene, so funny to see. The boxer had during this fight the shame of his life. All the drama he did at the beginning of the match only served to ridicule him, since he was beaten by a non-professional. Since then, he never dared to challenge anyone again. He even restricted himself to featherweights in his next matches. During an MMA match, a ring girl entered the ring to introduce the players. But that day, the young lady was a little bit tipsy. So when she entered the ring and held up the signs with the names of the players, the woman decided to do her little number to impress the gallery. And as she was dressed in a sexy outfit, she did not need to make much effort except to let go and be a clown. Ridiculous acrobatics, wobbly dances, very embarrassing tricks. The woman did everything to make the audience laugh. At one point, she will try to do a somersault to show her buttocks to the audience, using the ring rope. She sits on it, swings backwards, and raises her legs in the air. This move is going to cost her a lot because she is going to hit one of the guards of the ring with her heels. This last one, who was standing close to her, got an injury on his nose. The embarrassed ring girl apologizes to him before discreetly withdrawing from the ring and leaving room for the fighters. It must have been the last time she was on a ring. In this sequence, a young man was attending a boxing match. At one point, he sees a ring girl strutting around the ring with her sign in her hands. He finds her pretty and tries to get closer to the ring to see her. He even climbs on it to get as close as possible. Then, seeing that she had finished her turn and that the second round was about to start, he decides to be a gentleman and helps her to go out through the ropes. But as soon as she came down, the young man wanted to follow her, but probably in a hurry and especially very much in love with her charm. He didn't see the steps of the stairs and ended up completely wallowing on the ground after having fallen down. He ended up on the floor with a broken face, while the young woman escaped backstage. It looks like our friend really fell in love. The famous fighter Crazy Horse is well known for his antics in the ring. He is mostly known for his incredible skills and qualities as a professional boxer. In this match, he was fighting an opponent. At one point, the latter got the upper hand on him and pinned him to the ground with his back against the floor. Crazy Horse had no more possibility to move. He was really blocked. Finally, in appearance, in spite of this uncomfortable position, Crazy Horse seemed serene and happy. And if he was, it was because he had more than one trick up his sleeve. Crazy Horse was smiling at the camera as if to say, "Let my opponent do what he wants. I will soon get up and take care of him." And this is indeed what happened. While his rival was cogitating to knock him out, Crazy Horse decided that enough was enough and that the charade had gone on long enough. He took advantage of his rival's moment of weakness to gather all his strength and stand up in a majestic and graceful manner. After that, he lifted his rival who had clung to him along his body. He then made a sign of victory to the camera, always with his famous smile, before throwing brutally his opponent against the ground. A fight that was no less trying for Crazy Horse, but he ended up winning once again, which only further fueled his self-confidence. This unshakable confidence that he never hesitates to boast about in front of the cameras during the weigh-ins. In these pictures, an MMA player was about to fight his opponent in a match, an opponent he doesn't seem to like very much. But before the beginning of the match, because of the photo of the weigh-in, he was forced to face him. But he was far from imagining that his opponent was preparing a dirty trick. Very dirty, in fact. While he was posing in front of the photographers, the opponent in question, having one hand behind his back, was hiding a bottle that one of his friends brought him on the sly. This bottle contained his urine. The man had indeed for objective to throw urine in his face in order to get back at him, probably for having beaten him during a previous match. Indeed, while our fighter had his fist in front of him and he thought he was to take a picture, his opponent suddenly sprayed him with his urine. Immediately, he moved away surprised, even shocked by what happened to him, before returning to charge to break his face. Well, fortunately for him, he had to do his match with urine on his face. It must not have smelled like a rose, but let's hope that it was enough to motivate him more to beat him and get back at him. This officer was standing on the stage while boxers were getting ready to face each other for the usual pre-match weigh-in. And as the weigh-ins are usually held in a tense and electric atmosphere, the policeman's role was to ensure calm during this obligatory passage. But once one of the fighters stood in front of him and undressed to put on her fight shorts, the policeman felt very embarrassed. At first, he tried to keep a straight face and look away upwards to avoid his eyes landing on the woman's backside. Except that temptation is sometimes too great. He still ended up stealing a little naughty look. The policeman seemed very embarrassed by what he was doing. Unfortunately for him, even though he did everything he could not to be caught in the act, the camera recorded this hilarious scene. I'm sure he's laughing now, unless he's married. In this boxing match, a young man of 239 kilos entered the ring very proud and sure of himself. Why sure? Because he had to face a young woman of 63 kilos. That's easy. 239 against 63 doesn't make the weight. He positioned himself in the ring and started his fight against his opponent. At first, he seemed to be doing pretty well, but at one point in the match, he started to lose his breath. Feeling that his opponent was losing his strength, the young woman took the opportunity to attack him in turn and put all her energy into it. Finally, the boxer was knocked out and was pinned by the young woman in no time. He lost the fight, and even though he had all the confidence in the world at the beginning, that will teach him to never underestimate a small weight again. So what do you think of these hilarious boxing and MMA moments? Tell us in the comments which one you love the most. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a like up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell to receive all the notifications and not miss out on any of our upcoming content.